Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be creating this tropical full page painting, and I'm going to be using a few things that I'm going to list in the description box below. The first one being a number 6 round pointed brush and a fine detail brush. I'm also going to be using these paint colors. I'm going to list these all below with links so that you can grab them if you want to. I partnered up with 20th Century Fox for their release of the new movie Snatched, which is about a mother and daughter, Emily, who's played by Amy Schumer, and Linda, who's played by Goldie Hawn, who take a trip to paradise, but they actually end up getting kidnapped. It's actually a pretty hilarious movie just because I love Amy Schumer's sense of humor and because the two are complete polar opposites and kind of have to navigate their way through the jungle to make it home alive. It's just really silly and humorous, and my boyfriend actually liked it too. So if you guys kind of like that Amy Schumer style humor, definitely check it out. So in the spirit of that movie, I decided to create these tropical flowers to kind of go with the whole jungle vibe type thing. So right now in my painting, I'm just filling in some of the areas where I had kind of mapped out where I wanted these different leaves to go. And I'm doing two different tones here. I've kind of got a more bluey green tone going on that I did first, and now I'm going in with a slightly grayer hue, adding in the second round. This kind of gives it a little bit more dimension. It just makes it look like it's not one color. These are super easy to do. If you want to check out my video that tells you how to do all kinds of twigs and leaves and things, definitely do that because this is one of them. Now I'm mixing up the color for my flowers. I am taking some of the pink tones and yellow tones, again everything is listed below, and I'm mixing those up to kind of create an orangey, peachy, pinky color. I actually added in a little bit of white gouache as well to make it a little bit lighter and a little bit more pastel shade. So now I'm just filling in the floral petals that I had sketched on in light pencil previously. I'm just doing a couple petals at a time so that the water doesn't kind of blend into all of the petals at the same time. I did a couple wet on wet washes, and I also did some wet on dry washes, just kind of made a nice mix to get those colors spreading out nicely. And then once I did a couple petals, I went back into the first one and I started again with this is the wet on dry technique I'm doing here. And I'm just making sure to leave some white space as well. It kind of gives the flower a bit more texture, and I just like how it looks instead of having the petal completely filled in. So I started off with the lighter peachy color, and then in the center I actually added some permanent rose, and that kind of spreads out towards the edges of the petals. It gives a nice watercolor effect, and I actually really like the texture when this is dry. The texture, it looks really nice, and it actually makes the petals just have a little bit more interest. So I decided to sort of sweep my brush outwards, kind of creating lines going in from the center out towards the petals with the darker permanent rose. I think I'm using mauve here as well to do that. And it just kind of allowed the center portions to kind of flower out, if that makes any sense. And then I decided to just go in with some yellow and add a bit of yellow to the centers here. Again, just adding in more colors as I go. Now I'm mixing up the color for the floral leaves. I used Hooker's Green and Ultramarine Blue here. I also added in a touch of white gouache as well to make it more pastel shade. And I'm very simply just creating these leaves, leaving a little white space as well, and then using the tip of the brush to sort of pull out the edges to make the edges a little bit more jagged. And then I can also drop in a bit of darker color as well, just to again give it some more texture and interest. Once that is completely dry, I'm going in with the mauve color, and I have my little detail brush. I'm just adding little stems into, is that what they're called? Stems in the center of the flowers. And I'm going to add little dots around the top of the tips of those. This is going to really start to bring that kind of tropical hibiscus style flower to life. Now here with my detail brush, I mixed up a little bit of the yellow with some of the permanent rose, and I'm making this a little bit darker, and I'm just doing lines going from the center of the flower and lightly kind of sweeping it upwards to give a little bit more texture to those flowers as well, because if you do notice hibiscus flowers, they kind of have little thin lines in them. So I'm just kind of trying to mimic that on these flowers. So now I'm just going in with the detail brush again, and I'm going on to the leaves for the flowers, and I'm just taking a slightly darker shade of that greenish blue color, and I'm doing a center line and then diagonal lines kind of coming off of that just to add in that leafy detail. And we are just about finished here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps me out, and I'll see you next time.